Hey everyone, it's the Knitting Professor. If you guys follow the news like I do, you know that there's yet another threat and yet another chance of tacoing. And this word, taco, has taken on a life force in the past year that, it's existed for a while, but I don't think it had quite the widespread, dare I say, appeal that it has now. So I thought I would think in terms of what knitting can teach us about tacoing, because when you think about the idea of folding, throwing in the towel, knitting offers a lot of opportunity for that. And I would like to think that if our fearless leader was a knitter, then we would be seeing a lot more in the way of patience, resilience, and maybe some other good qualities that we aren't currently seeing. So let's explore. So this is exhibit A for me on the whole question of tacoing. Now, this sweater took about 3 years for me to knit. It probably should have taken 6 months. As you can see, a lot of work went to it. In fact, I probably made it a little bit too long. It's almost like a mini dress, which I don't mind because it's very beautiful and it's very warm in the winter. This pattern is a challenge to execute with the birds, the consistency, the water design. This is, it's a kind of a variation on a lace pattern. And if you mess up a repeat and you go a few rows, then you're going to have to either live with a rather big mistake. And I'm not going to tell you if there are any on here. I actually forget. I think I was pretty consistent. Maybe, I may show you something here and you might be like, ooh, but I think I ended up doing a pretty damn good job. Now, there are mistakes. I've done a video about this sweater before where I pointed out, one sleeve is bigger than the other. It got a bit long. I have 4 different steeks going on. Now, I started and stopped this sweater several times because this was my first colorwork project. And as you can see, I was very ambitious. And getting ahead of yourself, sometimes, you can decide, oh, I'm just going to try this. And you get in the situation and things get mired and you're like, oh boy, what am I going to do now? Which is, it's a little bit like the situation we're in now nationally, but knitting is much more fun to talk about. This was a big challenge from the steeking standpoint, and I had to do a lot of research on steeking, but I made my job hard when I used superwash wool. I would be curious how many of you do colorwork sweaters in superwash wool. This is one of 2 that I've done. My other one's a lamb one. You've probably seen is more successful. I mean, this one's very successful, obviously, but the other one didn't take me 3 years. But I still would not recommend it. You can get some really cool colors in superwash yarn, but more and more you can get some really cool colors in rustic yarn too. So even in hand-dyed rustic yarn, that's what you're after. Plus you can make it yourself. So yeah, a lot of stopping and starting, a lot of wondering, scratching my head, is this really going to work? Like, here's just a sample. So on this armhole, I've got on the one hand the steeking using the crochet approach, and on the same sleeve I have the steeking using the bias tape approach. Now, fortunately, they both worked. I don't recommend steeking with superwash yarn because it's less likely to felt and stick to itself, but I lucked out. I've worn this sweater quite a number of times after all that work, right? And although I did taco on several occasions while I was making it, in the end, I arose victorious. I won the battle, and I do have a garment that is quite striking, very warm, quite wearable. It might be good to do this pattern again with rustic yarn and try to avoid some of the mistakes that I did the first time, because the pattern, as you can tell, it really is exquisite. It's very, very beautiful pattern. Now, I don't know if this pattern has been updated. I made this sweater several years back. I did find errors in it. It's called The Seagull by Ruth Sorensen. And Yeah, the one on the front. You know, I tried to imitate that even with the colors, not knowing I should have used rustic wool, but I survived, right? I survived. I emerged victorious. Just to give you a peek at, there were a couple pages. Well, one of the things that I had to, as you can see here, I've got all kinds of handwriting on here, figuring out the increases, and I had to figure out things like, you can see right here, it says leave out on repeat. I had to figure out stuff like that. Like some things didn't quite line up, and I had to, that was another challenge that I was facing, that I was like, man, I gotta take a break. You know, I was gonna talk to him. I was really thinking about it, but I didn't. And like over here, like we've got the pattern, and it's it didn't quite line up, and I had to like cross some stuff out. And I found on one page with the repeats of the ocean waves, you know, that some stitches were not lining up, and so I had to fix that. I'm not finding that. If you guys use this pattern and you want to know what things I corrected, feel free to message me, because it is beautiful. And once I got those things all figured out, it's got a lot of great details, you know, showing you on the actual sweater, like how to do the steeks and the neckline and all that stuff. So it was a great challenge. I kind of tacoed back and forth a little bit, but in the end, I survived and I made it. Now, there is a sweater. In fact, it's so embarrassing. I don't even have it, but I'll just show you the design. It's one that I've worked on for a similar length of time, and I've done a video on this too. It's this Christmas sweater. This is just a black and white version of the pattern. Somewhere I've got the real one, because technically I'm still working on it. Kind of like we're still in negotiations, right? We still have this memorandum. I'm still working on it, and it's going to be finished, and it's going to be great, you know? So in my case, I would like to give myself the benefit of the doubt, but I got to admit, it's been a while. Apparently I bought this pattern 9 years ago. It says it right on there, 1/6/17. That's crazy. So I've been working on this baby for 9 years. That's not good. That's not good. Talk about a long war. I've got all the yarn, you know, and I've gotten, you know, about that much in. It's sport weight. It's fine. The pattern, there are multiple rows with 3 colors at once. It's just a chore. I mean, it's going to be fantastic when I do make it. So hopefully my tacoing on this one is not permanent. We shall see. We shall see. I've got a lot of years ahead of me, a lot of time to make it happen. I got these socks out because this is an interesting exhibit. One of the things that took me a long time to figure out was how to make socks. Took me over a year to make a pair of socks. And the thing that was really causing me consternation, I got past the toe part, which toe up, right? That's already pretty challenging. But I've gotten to the point where I'm almost addicted to making those toes, because they're a challenge that I have overcome. And I can make it without looking at anything. I still might run into an issue here or there, but I know how to do it, know what tools to use. But on the heel, I really struggled for a while. This I tried, I forgot what this is called, a heel flap. I'm not sure what that's called. It's like a traditional heel where, and you can see where the square is, with the decreases and then the increases. And I got like this hole, and it was hard, and I just didn't know if I wanted to do it again. Like you can see there's a hole there, shouldn't be there. So this was probably like my first or second pair of socks that I made. I'm proud of myself because I didn't taco. I actually got them done. And then I swapped on the other sock to the heel that I was able to master much more easily, which is, thank you, Cat Boardy, the sweet tomato heel. And that is what I use on all of my socks anymore. And I've got it memorized, and it's like 3 wedges, and it fits my foot well, and there are no holes. And these socks, again, they're probably almost as old as that pattern. You know, I've been wearing these wool socks for years and years and years. They've got a lot of hardware. You can tell there's some felting going on. But this is the Croy sock yarn from Canada. It's awesome. It's just, they've just held up beautifully. Nice sort of practical, sporty colors. Really glad that I held out. I mean, these heels are just they're flat out felted. But that's great, you know, because they're gonna last another 8 years. Another sweater I've shown you before where I benefited. So I think one of the messages is that we can, if we persevere, right? Persevering is really, it's about persevering, not tacoing is about persevering. Once you do that, you have that reservoir of strength and experience then to carry you through future projects that are more challenging. And that's the beauty of it, you know, really. So this sweater was not quite as challenging as the Does one. It doesn't have steeking and stuff like that, but still very challenging. You know, there's a lot of color work in here, a lot of chances to go wrong, but I really had a much better idea after the experience of knitting the seagull sweater on this Jesse Ostermiller sweater, which I've done a video. It's called the Tucson sweater. I just knew what to expect and had better knowledge, and I had that, you know, the certainty that if I just persevered, which I should carry through to my Christmas sweater, right, that I could get it done. And as this sweater unfolded, I love the colors too. It's very helpful to love the colors. Why, it just made me happy, and it gave me a kind of the will and the resolve to get it done. So there are other projects that I have going on where, you know, there are all kinds of things that can get in our way. It's not just maybe trying something new, like steeking or color work or lace, or, you know, like another project that I've got like this mind block, you know, which is cable sweater. So I've done a cable hat and I've done a cable scarf. So I'm gaining slowly some experience in the meantime. I'm so in love with color work that I just keep doing that. But here's a sweater that so I'm kind of running into a different issue, which I can explain to you. Y'all haven't seen this in a while because I have not worked on it a whole lot lately. But this is made completely of hand spun. And, you know, you can tell it's growing pretty well. What is that, like about maybe 13 or 14 inches tall? I don't know if I have a ruler here. I could measure it. No, I don't. But now one thing that's cool about this sweater, as a lot of you guys know, is that I spun all this wool by myself. And I figured out how I could incorporate wools with different sort of weights, different textures by using the helical knitting. And it's just a perfect way to sort of improvise the use of multiple types of fibers. So I have, you know, this very rustic 2-ply on the one hand, and then I have this less rustic 3-ply. You know, they kind of harmonize, but they're spun very differently. And then I have this one is a finer one that's a superwash, and it's got some stellina in it. And it's I probably wouldn't spin this particular fiber again. I think I did this as a 2-ply, but again, it matches, and I spun it, and I'm going to use it. And this really fun 3-ply. So I have all these, you know, sort of varied yarns that are going into this, and we'll see. God forbid I should run out. Then I would have a new problem to deal with. Here's another one that is going into this sweater. So why am I struggling? Well, it's very easy. It's because I have to manage 6 balls of yarn at once when I'm doing this. So keeping the yarns untangled is a challenge. That I can deal with. A lot of times I'll just like turn this in circles to get the twist out of it, and that takes care of 90% of it. What is the issue? So I have this bag of all these balls of yarn on the floor in front of me, and I'm knitting, and I've got these, you know, 6 strands that I'm carrying at the same time. Well, then Budapest wants to lie in my lap. and she's like lying on the strands of yarn, and I'm trying to, you know, jerk them out while I'm knitting. Well, and then her friend, Paris, she wants to lie in my lap too. So that's the rub. To say nothing of the fact that, you know, the weather is quite warm. In fact, this weekend is supposed to be 100 for like several days in a row. It's kind of crazy. So, you know, that's just another reason why, you know, the taco option is sometimes, I don't want to say appealing, but it's like an alluring resort to think in terms of, well, you know, I could just hang it up, right? There, on rare occasion we frog things, right? I tried to make a pair of socks one time out of this Croy. It was a heavy, it was almost like a DK, and I was trying to make my socks in the usual way, and oh my gosh, I couldn't even get the, I was using my usual 0 needles, and it was just impossible. So, on occasion, we will frog something, and sometimes it's just smart to just back away, you know. Sometimes that's kind of the answer. It's like, whoops, you know, kind of got into some quicksand there, better get back up out. Instead of just, oh, let's just swim in this, right, you know. So I don't think I'll ever reach the point with this sweater where I just give up. I think it's just a matter of finding the right mojo, because I am making progress on it, and I have overcome like the whole knit 3 colors at a time kind of thing. As you know, I've started a number of new projects because it's like my favorite thing to do. So I think it's quite likely that ultimately I won't taco for good on this sweater. But it would be interesting to know, you know, your experience if you've like had a project where maybe you just bit more than you could chew. I think that happens a fair amount. It's just not unusual. We get ambitious and we get, you know, excited. I mean, I'm like, I've got all these fun colors of yarn that goes into this sweater, and I bought all of it. This is kind of a nice little wool. It's a very good price point. It's Cloudborne Highland wool. I think it's from either Peru. Yeah, it's from Peru. From Peru. It's very nice yarn and fun to work with. It's not super wash. And I was like, I'm just gonna do this. You know, this is gonna be great. And 9 years later, and I'm still like, gotten about that much done. So if you're with me, if you know what I'm talking about, maybe you have some words of wisdom, some inspiration for some stories, maybe even horror stories, you know, about something that you tried. I mean, there are all kinds of reasons why we might, you know, just decide, no, not gonna happen. You know, I mean, things happen in people's lives, you know, I mean, there are all kinds of reasons. So there are times of throwing in the towel. And doing so, if you're gonna split this, if you're gonna throw in the towel, I think it's good to commit yourself and do it thoroughly, and then just dust yourself off and get back up. So, or maybe get back up first and dust yourself off. Maybe that's different order. But in any case, ultimately, where we want to be is where we can tackle a project like this, and we're not afraid, and we have resilience. We have experience, we have know-how, we have strategies that carry us through, and then we can come out with the kind of result that we're really proud of. And if you have stories about that kind of thing too, that would be great, because I think we can all use inspiration in the age of taco and just some kind of reassurance, you know, that we're above giving up, and that we have what it takes to succeed and to come out on top with projects like this one that I'm really proud of. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. I hope you're having a great week, and we'll talk soon. Ciao.